All right, we are live. We are live. Cool. You can see these two idiots change, changing their usernames to Team Subham and Sim for Susanna. So I had to do it as well because they're just basically taking a stance against me.
Mm-hmm.
This is them. This is mutiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens. But because nobody was supporting me, I had to support myself. So I made it so that I'm Team Armin.
I
Can
mean,
I see some? Can I see some Team Armins in the live chat?
no,
Maybe.
it's all Team Shupum. It's all Team Shupum.
Come on,
It's
guys. Anyway.
it's an type against Armin, which
Mm.
Someone has to take a stand, and it's gotta be us.
Okay. All right. Whatever makes you feel better. Anybody in the live chat, Team Armin? Maybe. Let me see. Nobody. I
See,
can ban you guys. You know that, right?
that's what I thought. That's
you
what
know,
I thought.
I could just remove you guys. Like I have the full. Like, look, I could just do this, and you guys can't do anything about it, right?
Oh, I thought this was a republic, not a dictatorship. What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Um.
All right. Wait. We're doing the news. Guys, before we do the news, can you please make sure? Like, what do I? Just look in the description and just see all the links there. Just follow us everywhere. You can follow Susanna personally. You could follow Shopam and his accounts. You could follow me personally everywhere. You can follow us on Twitch. We have a Discord server.
Sign up for our newsletter.
Sign up for our newsletter, and all the good stuff is there. And also make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, and everything. Oh, look, Team Armins. Look, Christy is Team Armin. Apple is Team Armin. Soha is Team Armin. Ahmed, yay! John is Team Armin. See, I didn't need you guys. Look at all these people. Our Team Armins. Oh my God, so much support. You didn't get even a single Susanna or Shubham. It's all just for me. This is awesome. See? This is now we know who's the real boss here. Okay.
those are just sympathy votes.
Exactly.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
This is backfired massively.
Exactly. All right.
Okay. Also Rivka couldn't join us this week because she's taking care of herself. So good for Rivka for taking care of us. But we miss you, Rivka.
We got rid of her because we're all anti-Semitic. She was. Oh, I was gonna make a joke, but then I realized this is YouTube. I can't.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm just gonna move on from that one right there. Okay.
Good.
Okay. First news. In Pakistan, man accused of blasphemy shot dead in court. A Pakistani Muslim who was on trial for blasphemy has been shot dead while in court. It was not immediately clear how the murderer, who is identified as Khalid Khan, managed to get to court on July 29th amid tight security. The attacker was subsequently arrested. The suspect told police that Prophet Muhammad had ordered him to kill the man standing trial, who the victim, his name is Tahir Nasim, because he belonged to the Ahmadi faith. The victim, Nasim, was arrested 2 years ago on blasphemy charges after claiming that he was Islam's prophet. While authorities have yet to carry out a death sentence for blasphemy, even mere accusations can cause riots or mob lynchings in Pakistan. So go ahead.
Okay. You go.
I was just going to say that this is like really big news this week. There have been major celebrities and huge crowds, and I wouldn't call it protests, but gatherings in support of the murderer. There's been massive support of the murderer of this man simply because of his supposed blasphemy. And this just goes to highlight once again how dire the situation is and how seriously people take something as simple as just claiming you're a prophet. I mean, that's not something I personally take seriously. I just, brush you off. But go ahead.
Right. So people need to understand that this is not just about. It is mainly about somebody being accused of blasphemy, going to court for it in Pakistan, and then this really somebody trying to defend the honor of Muhammad coming and shooting the guy before even he sees a trial. That is the main story. But if you actually want to know how bad the situation is, that's not it, right? Like that's not the entire point, because to get a better picture of how big of a problem this kind of thinking is this reaction that Susanna mentioned, right? Because if this was just a story, then a lot of people would assume that, okay, yes, we know religious people, they have this fringe group of crazy people who go out and shoot people who or do some crazy stuff like that when somebody offends them, especially when it comes to Islam, the vast majority of it, actually, right? But I don't want to say the main story. The main indicator of how big of a problem this is people's reaction to the guy who shot the accused blasphemer in court, because he's being for this murder, he's being celebrated as a hero, as somebody that did the honorable thing, somebody. And it's very interesting because I was gonna say somebody who didn't wait for due process, but due process on fucking what? On blasphemy, right? Which is, there shouldn't even be a court for that, but obviously. But again, if you actually go look at the reactions to this in Pakistan and how much support this getting, like, you would think that the wave of backlash towards this would be in defense of the person that just got shot, but no, apparently not in Pakistan. The main reaction, the wave of people coming out and speaking out about this, are in support of the person that decided to end the man's life for his blasphemy. This is like, Pakistan, man, compared to other like Islamic countries, is just, I don't know. It's like sometimes I feel like it's a lost cause. I don't want to feel like that, because I know it's very unfair to feel like that, because there are a lot of atheists and secular activists in Pakistan that are risking so much to make even the slightest amount of progress with a great deal of risk to themselves. So I think it's very unfair to them and the work that they're doing for us to lose hope, and just give up on Pakistan like this. But man, sometimes, and the problem with Pakistan is that, the demographics is not even in our favor, right? So I think when you look at Iran, you're like, okay, it's very bad, and you have an Islamic theocracy, but it seems like the vast majority of the people are getting tired of all this bullshit, right? Maybe like with the demographics, we have some hope that there's some change in the future that somewhere could happen, right? With Saudi Arabia, we can't really tell that much. It's really hard to get a good understanding of what people think there. There are some hopeful, some good polls coming out that gives us some hope about at least what the direction is. But with Pakistan, man, it's not the government that scares, the secularists and the atheists. It's not the government; it's the people, right? Again, hashtag not all. But yeah, it is. It's a nightmare. Oh, look at this. Is Faraz a Muslim? Yeah, Faraz is Pakistan is your worst nightmare. I think he's threatening us because his profile picture suggests that he's a Muslim.
No, he's not threatening us. I know him.
Why is he? Is this our Faraz?
Yeah.
Oh, this is our Faraz. Faraz, what the hell? Why are you scaring us? What is this profile picture with the shahadat? Like, what the hell? He's like, I thought like you're. What is this with this threatening messages and your new Islamic profile picture?
Armin got triggered.
Yeah, I got triggered.
I want to say that in Pakistan, there have been instances, for example, the one with Asha Bibi, where the government even imprisons the person just to protect them from the mob. It's more of a protection than a punishment, like imprisonment in Pakistan. So that really proves how dangerous the mob can be in Pakistan.
Right. By the
Yeah.
way, go on.
What is really interesting about this case is that the man who was murdered was a U.S. citizen. And according to another article I've read, the State Department said in a statement on July 30th that the man, Tahir Nassim, was a U.S. citizen and it had urged Islamabad to protect him. The statement said that Nassim had been lured from his home in Illinois by individuals who then used Pakistan's blasphemy laws to entrap him. The U.S. government had called attention to senior Pakistani officials to his case since his detention in 2018, aiming to, quote, prevent the type of shameful tragedy that eventually occurred. So it will be really interesting to see what unfolds, given that he was a U.S. citizen and he was murdered in court. I wonder if the State Department is going to get further involved in that. But it's really shameful, man. And I'm never going to give up hope on Pakistan, because I have so many people who reach out to me who are doing everything that they can to make a difference, right? Even the tiniest things, the tiniest steps, anything that they can do to improve the lives of the youth, the people around them, the next generation. It really inspires me. And unfortunately, they cannot do so as publicly as we do it, right? I can't even bring attention to the people who are doing the work because I need to protect them, right? But there are people doing the work. And so the way that I help them in turn is by sharing stories like this so that more people are aware of what it's really like and what's really going on there, and how actions like this are popularly supported, so that other people understand exactly what people there are really facing.
Okay, so I do want to read this because I really like it. The mad Gaseous is saying this is serious Islamic fragility. I really like Islamic fragility. You know how we have the term white fragility, which I think it's actually a racist term against white people. This is actually a better use of the whole fragility. You know, this is because first of all, it's saying Islamic. It's not like if it was Muslim fragility, I think I wouldn't like it because it was.
Yeah.
It would be grouping an entire. It would be talking about an entire group of people as if they're all fragile. I think Islamic fragility is it's very. I mean, it's much more. It's a much better use of the term because it's a real thing. I mean, think about it. Like when people say white fragility, like people asking questions and not agreeing with you, they call that fragility. But then when you have this is true fragility. When when your opinions actually gets you a court date, and not only that, somebody comes and gets so offended that has to shoot you to death, shoot you and kill you. This is all right. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure credit to the rephrasing or the term Islamic fragility goes to Jimmy Bangesh.
Really?
Yeah, he had a really good discussion on Apostate Prophet, I think this past week. Talking about his experience and activism as an LGBT gay ex-Muslim, and he talked a lot about his own conception of Islamic fragility and how the left actually perpetuates Islamic fragility as if Muslims they have this lower expectation as if they cannot handle criticism, right? And so they jump in extra to protect them as if they are these fragile little people that can't handle a conversation. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video. I really enjoyed that conversation. But good use of that term, the mad Gatheist. Do you have any other comments on this news?
Yeah, this is a good one. Malik is from Pakistan, and he's saying, yes, please don't give up on us, even if there's a few of us left. And Faraz is saying, thanks, Susanna. with a heart. I'm seeing Christy's chat on my phone, but I'm not seeing it on the stream yet. I want to highlight Christy's comments, but I don't know why it's not showing up. So I'm going to try to figure it out. Okay. But for
I
now,
see her
let's go.
comment.
I see her on the phone, but not on the StreamYard.
Strange.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the next news.
Okay, next news. Malaysian police can force trans people through Islamic education. In Malaysia, human rights activists in Malaysia have condemned an order by the Religious Affairs Minister which gives full license for police to arrest and detain trans people. On the 10th of July, Minister Zulkifli Mohammed Al-Bakri announced on social media that he had given the religious police full license to carry out its enforcement actions against transgender people in Malaysia. He elaborated that his order goes beyond arrests, but also allows police to subject trans people to religious education so that they will return, quote, to the right path. Trans people in Malaysia are already heavily persecuted under Sharia law, but activists fear al-Bakri's order takes this criminalization a step farther by sanctioning enforced conversion therapy.
Okay, Subham.
Okay, so, well, I was talking to a friend who lives in Malaysia about this, and he said that they're doing this. Okay, I can hear it echo. I think it's from Susanna. Okay, so yeah, so I was talking to him, and he said that this is being enforced, currently being enforced in one state called Kelantan, I guess, which is like highly populated Muslim state and a very religious population. And he even has a friend in that state who said that if he gets caught cross-dressing or cross-playing, then he will be forced to get Islamic education about genders and stuff. And it is possible, he said that, I mean, according to this news, like this will be enforced throughout Malaysia, but he still doubts that. I mean, it's still not good what he said, but he thinks that this will be only enforced for people who are Muslims and not for other religions. Yes, but it's still not good. Like even if it's just enforced on Muslims, I mean, he wasn't sure about this, but even if it's just enforced on Muslims, it's still not good for them to be forced into Islamic education, as they call it. And that's what I can. I mean, that's what he said to me. And
What
other
is
than
this?
that, this is purely like bullshit.
Does anybody know what this Islamic education is that they think? Because I'm interested to know what is it in Islam that think that some trans people. I mean, I know it's all idiotic, but in their mind, they think that people who are people who are trans, they're going to be exposed to certain Islamic messages, and they're going to be like, okay. I now realize that this is my true gender. Like, yeah, go ahead, Shapa.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think by Islamic education they mean like just education.
Oh
I mean,
shit.
it could be use of violence or something.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've seen that before. Like they beat the shit out of you, and sometimes, like, I'm not saying they do that here, but I've seen situations where they label beating the shit out of somebody as education. Like I'm not even exaggerating. I've seen, yeah. So, but what do you mean? Do you know what they mean by education here?
I mean, I think they will just force you or use violence on you to uh, just accept Islamic teachings unless you like. They will just beat you up unless you accept these teachings and unless you like swear an oath to God or something. I don't know how exactly that happens. That you will not do this kind of stuff or something. So I think that's what it's meant, because I don't think like no one would just get some religious education and think, oh yeah, now I realize I should not do this. No one will do that. I mean, almost no one. Some people do that for some reason, but almost no one will do that. So it's very possible, I think, that they will use violence.
We got a super chat. Is that what? Is that Australian dollars? Is that what it is? $5 Australian, I think. I'm not sure. But Malik is saying, please also address the broader censorship in Pakistan, spearheaded by the Prime Minister. Maybe we could do a news on this next week. Maybe. Yeah.
I think I know what policies they're talking about, but
just I don't want to
Malik
focus on this too much because we're in the middle of a Malaysian news. But can we address this? Maybe we could look into it next week. Okay. Okay.
Good idea. To answer your question, I haven't been able to find specific information about what they mean by Islamic education. I know obviously it's a different country. In Indonesia, similar things have been taken against the transgender community, and it comes in the form of like ruqya. It comes in the form of exorcism, supposedly, right, to try to get this spirit that's confusing them about their identity out of them, right? So that's a possible suspicion. Is it similar to China's re-education? Not clear. I do not believe that they have a systemized regime of thought reform. Although, if we're speculating about them just using violence against people, that is one way to go about thought reform. It was really interesting. A human rights organization called Sisters in Islam released a statement where they urged this minister to drop his calls to rehabilitate trans people and remember Islamic teachings of kindness, compassion, and not to discriminate, shame, or act violently regardless of people's backgrounds, gender, or identities. So it's interesting to see Muslim organizations speaking against this.
Well, yeah, but that's nothing to do with their Islam because there's specific hadith Muhammad telling people that if you're a man acting like a woman, then fuck you. That it doesn't get any more specific than that. So, but I mean, I'm not saying these people shouldn't. I mean, I'm grateful for these people speaking out, but just make sure that you don't give credit to Islam for them doing the right thing. It's give the credit to them as individuals, right? I also want to remind people that Malaysia is one of the countries that people use as an example of how great and moderate and loving, first world and secular and Islamic country could be. People like Reza Aslam be like, see, Islam is not that bad. Look at Malaysia. Look, it's not all jihadis and okay, yeah. Guys, look at Malaysia, right? This is the best you can get under an Islamic country. So remind them of all these examples and countless other examples that we bring up about Malaysia and Indonesia and Tunisia when they're using these countries as examples of how awesome Islam is. Subham.
Yeah, so what I was saying, even though my friends said that it will probably not be enforced on non-Muslims and them, but the thing is these people trans people, cross players, cross races, these people are still marginalized in the wider society there by most people, and they are just free to do what they want to do just because some of their family accepts them and allows them to do it. But with this, if the government says this, there could be this could lead to more violence in the public. People can take the law in their own hands and just say, yeah, we will just force you to go to the police or force you into Islamic education or something so people might start acting violent against them.
We got another super chat. By the way, we didn't properly thank Malik. We have to say thank you, Malik, for the $5 Australian dollar super chat, and now we got $5 Canadian super chat. See, we're getting so many different. We're international audience. Thank you, Placebo Believe. Thank you so much for the super chat, and also the Babylon project. This is by the way, guys, check out the Babylon projects. YouTube channel. There's some very good, interesting interviews there.
Armin and I have been on the Babylon Project.
Yes. In fact, only check those 2 episodes. The rest, I'm not so sure about. The Babylon Project is saying, can't believe you would say something so bigoted, Armin. If you read the Quran closely, you'll notice that it's actually perfectly intersectional. # educate yourself. Oh, wow.
I love you, Vince.
Vince. Very funny, Vince. Ha ha ha. That's like how they think Turkey is mother. Yeah, well, Turkey. If they think Turkey is, yeah, never mind. All right, let's go to the next news.
Okay, next news. Oh, this is some. Okay. Doctor retweeted by Trump has warned of alien DNA and sex with demons. Okay, let's get into it. In America, Stella Emanuel appeared in a video this week published by the right-wing outlet Breitbart News. It showed a group calling itself America's Frontline Doctors, and in the video, Emanuel argues that you don't need masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19. She also claims that studies showing hydroxychloroquine are not effective, is not effective for treating the disease, is fake science and sponsored by fake pharma companies. President Trump posted versions of the video on Twitter, and these were later removed by the platforms as well as Facebook and other social media platforms. Emanuel has said in recorded sermons that gynecological problems are caused by sexual contact with spirit husbands and spirit wives. Emanuel said in 2015 that alien DNA is used in medical treatments. In another 2015 sermon, she claimed that researchers are currently working on a vaccine to prevent individuals from being religious.
Okay, I have to make this something very, very clear, okay? When I have sex with demons, I never lead them to believe that I'm going to marry them. We're very clear on that. It's usually a one-night stand. I don't know why she's saying this is a huge problem, because when she says spirit wives and spirit husbands, you're giving these demons too much hope that these experiences with them could lead to something more serious, and you shouldn't lead people on when you're just having sex with them. You need to be very clear and honest with people that you're having sex with. Okay, so I appreciate that. Anyways, continue.
You have to set clear boundaries with these demons, man. It's all about open communication and enthusiastic consent.
Yeah. Guys, but this is like, holy crap, like the president of the United States retweets witch doctors, basically. Like, and did you guys, I don't know, I did a video on this yesterday, but Tucker Carlson and other conservatives, they're like defending, they're like, oh, she's black and you're calling her witch doctor, and you're telling her like that she's saying nonsense because she got her degree from Africa, and they're like going full wokey on people. Like, no, because she is like a witch doctor, like because it's not because she's from Africa. You got them like it's so, anyways. But that's one thing. Another thing is that they also complain about the fact that these videos were removed from YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. I mean, if there's one example of good uses of censorship, it must be this, when people are spreading not debunked health advice from people that believe in alien DNA and vaccines and having sex with demons. Like, this is obviously one of those areas that we like, yeah, remove that shit. This is going to put people, this is kind of misinformation is going to put people in danger. But
yeah,
the fact, yeah.
I know both of us, Subham, I'll let you speak for yourself, but I know Armin and I are free speech absolutists. But one of the few things where we do draw the lines is frauds, right? You're not allowed to propagate frauds, and this is clearly a fraud and just made up. This isn't going to help your health. If you're trying to sell these services, that's a fraud, and you shouldn't be allowed to just spread this dangerous bullshit.
Okay, so first of all, it's not fraud; it's misinformation.
If she was selling a service, it would be fraud.
but it's not a free. This is not a free speech issue, okay? And this is a censorship issue. And when I say this is a censorship issue, people think that I'm not against censorship if it's not a free speech violation. Yeah, there are many forms of censorship that I'm against, even if it's not a free speech violation. Okay, but this is not one of them. This is not free speech because it's not the government that censored you. Okay, if the government censors you, your free speech has been violated. If a company censors you, your free speech hasn't been violated. That's not a defense of that kind of censorship. For example, when Atheist Republic was removed from Facebook, a lot of people, we complained about it, but we didn't claim that our free speech was violated. So we were against their decision without claiming that our free speech was violated. When I say our free speech wasn't violated, that doesn't mean like, oh, it was a great decision, okay? But a lot of our fans go out like, oh, what happened to free speech? You know, when I was going to speak at a university and my speech was canceled because of me being like controversial and stuff, again, a lot of my fans came out like, oh, what happened to free speech? Again, freedom of speech doesn't mean that you have the right to every platform. But again, I still complained about it. I still think it was a bad idea, but I never went and said that, oh, my free speech was violated. So this is censorship. It's not a violation of free speech. Some form of censorship makes sense, especially if I make a video and say like, hey, this thing, put it next to you and, every day, and it will have positive energy comes out of it, and it will cure your cancer, and it will give you gives you orgy 24/7 at the same time, and be like, if I put a video like that on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, people are like, all of these platforms should be able to remove me. They're like, yeah, this is dangerous idea. Like, people are gonna buy this. Like, this is why I think like homeopathy should be banned from Facebook. If homeopathy was like banned from Facebook, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I would be like, yeah, good job, Facebook. This is dangerous. This is spreading of misinformation. But if the government wants to but if the government makes it illegal for people to promote homeopathy, actually, I might be against that as well. I might support it as well, because that's like scam level. That's now fraud and scam. It's not just spreading misinformation because they're making money off of it. But that's a different discussion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with that. Like, for example, the anti-vaxxers, people like them, they can say whatever they want because of free speech. But when they sell their ideas, then it's not just about free speech. It becomes scam, and it should be banned. So this is the same case. But I have one very personal issue with this person. Like, she specifically cited 4 series, TV shows and movies as being exposing children to witchcraft, and it consists of Harry Potter, Pokemon, Wizards of Waverly Place, and Hannah Montana. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Harry Potter, witchcraft, wizardry, fine. Pokemon, fantasy world, fine. Wizards of Waverly Place, well, Wizards is in the name, so okay, fine. But what the hell did Hannah Montana do?
Guys, we got another super chat.
Because she switches identities in the show. Yeah. Don't you know, Subham? That's duplicitous. That's the devil's work. That's black magic.
Yeah. Placebo Belief says we're extremely thankful to your work. Another $2 Canadian super chat. Well, very generous. Thank you so much. Faraz is saying how to have sex with jinns if they are. I think you mean if they are Muslim jinns. Jinns is basically like demons in Islam. I don't know. I haven't had sex. I only have sex with atheist demons. But I'm willing to try. I think like the Muslim demons, because they feel guilty about having sex, I think it's actually more fun. It's always more fun to have sex with people who feel that they're doing something really, really bad. That guilt, it just makes it just so much better. But again, so if there are Muslim jinns out there, Muslim demons out there, I'm open-minded. I'm willing, like, just because I'm an atheist, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm very accepting.
Yeah, you like the taboo. You're okay with it.
Yes.
She put out a tweet on the 27th that says, "Hello, Facebook, put back my profile page and videos up, or your computers will start crashing until you do. You are not bigger than God, I promise you. If my page is not back up, Facebook will be down in Jesus' name." So for those who are familiar, when you're saying something in Jesus' name, you're basically doing a form of exorcism. And by the way, she has more subscribers on YouTube than we do. Now, I don't know how she might have gotten a big jump given that she got all this attention over the past week, but subscribe to Atheist Republic, man. Like, we can't, we need to fight this misinformed craziness. So, yeah, please support us while we fight this nonsense, while she gets to spread it quite widely.
Malik in the live chat is spreading misinformation, so I think he should be canceled. He's saying you better be using protection. Trust me, you don't want demon. What is this? Chlamydia, guys. Okay, this is one reason why it's really good to have sex with demons, because our viruses and bacteria are not the same. They have a different biology, so you don't need protection to have sex with demons. We don't share any of our diseases. This is actually safer to have sex with demons than humans. So again, Malik, please.
You didn't know sex with demons can even cure the COVID, because the body heat from the demons will just destroy the virus. So yeah, go have sex with demons. It will even cure COVID. So please.
Next up, okay, guys. Faraz is saying next topic. Okay, next topic.
Oh my God! Well, that was my favorite segment this week. Okay, next news. Hashtag where is my name? Afghan women campaign to reveal their name. In Afghanistan, family members often force women to keep their name a secret from people outside of the family, even doctors. Using a woman's name in public is frowned upon and can be considered an insult. Many Afghan men are reluctant to say the names of their sisters, wives, or mothers in public. Women are generally only referred to as the mother, the daughter, the sister of the eldest man in their family, and Afghan law dictates that only the father's name should be recorded on a birth certificate. But some Afghan women are now campaigning to use their names freely with the slogan, "Where's my name?" The campaign appears to have taken a big step in the past few weeks. A source close to the Afghan president, Ashraf Ghani, said he had instructed the Afghan Central Civil Registration Authority to look into the possibility of amending the country's Population Registration Act to allow women to say their names on their children's ID cards and birth certificates.
I didn't even know this. Did you guys know this?
I only found out about it recently because of this campaign.
Subham, did you know this?
Same as Susanna. I found it out recently.
Where does this even come from? Not using women's names. What the hell? That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad, and I think it speaks to the level in which women are held in shame or disdain or a false sense of protection for them. Like, you can't even say their name for revealing them, but it just erases women as beings to such a deep extent that they cannot be on their own children's birth certificates acknowledged as their parent. This news article that we are referencing starts out with this story. A woman from Western Afghanistan, we will call her Rabia, was suffering a severe fever, so she went to see a doctor. The doctor's diagnosis was COVID-19. When she returned home, still suffering from pain and fever, and gave her prescription to her husband to buy the medicine for her. When her husband saw her name on the prescription, he beat her for revealing it to a strange man, in quotes. Her story is not unique. So even your doctor who's prescribing you medicine is not supposed to know your name. This woman had COVID and she was beaten for having her name on a prescription to get medication.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know what the source of this is, though. Like, I don't understand where this came from. I mean, we don't want to, like, we want to make sure we're not blaming religion for something that we're not sure is because of religion. You know, things could be indirectly tied to religion, even if religion doesn't have any, any teachings on it. Like, there's nothing in Islam that says that you can't use women's names. I mean, even if you read Hadith, women's names are mentioned in the Hadith. But again, indirectly, maybe when you create an environment where misogyny is so common and women's identity is so insignificant, maybe you get results like this indirectly. But Subham.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that, like, it is not in Islam, okay, but it could be because, like, Islam enforces this objectification of women, and it went to such an extreme case in this instance that the entire culture developed with it, and it just went to, like, women as being objectified so hard that they can not even reveal their name, because they are not even being treated as beings in this instance.
It's so true. It's really sad. It says the problem starts early when a girl is born. It takes a long time for her to be given a name. That's not too unusual. There's a lot of cultures where they wait to give the child a name. Then when a woman is married, her name does not appear on her wedding invitations. When she is ill, her name does not appear on a prescription. And when she dies, her name does not appear on her death certificate or even her headstone. So this is like true erasure of women. Like, personally, I don't know if I want to get into all this. I have a lot of feelings about feminism in America, and this is where I decide to focus my energy. I'll just say that. Credit for starting this campaign goes to a woman named Leila Osami. So look up her work. She's really amazing.
Okay, I need to comment on that, where you decide to focus your attention. I have to always clarify that it's okay if you want to focus on women's rights in United States or Canada or Western European countries. It's okay if you want to do that. Like, if some people say, like, oh no, this is women issues is more important in the Middle East or in Africa or in the Far East or whatever, and that's where your focus be. I'm like, no, you focus, you don't have to focus on the biggest problem to make a difference. You could focus on a problem that you're more passionate about, or something that you know more about, or something that you think you could help more, or whatever, right? As long as you don't dismiss the other problems. Like, so for example, somebody might want to focus on Christianity, and you're like, why are you focusing on Christianity? Islam is worse. You're like, well, I want to focus on Christianity, or I want to focus on Hinduism. That's fine. Or somebody's like, oh, I want to do all religions at the same time. Or somebody said, no, I want to focus on Islam. All of them is fine, as long as if you're attacking. I don't have a problem with somebody going and attacking Christianity, as long as they're not saying, oh, but Islam is okay, right? If they do that, then I'm like, okay, I'm coming after you now. So if somebody says, like, you know what, I'm going to focus on women's rights issues in the United States, if I don't think it's fair, I'm not saying you're saying that, Susanna, but I don't think it's fair for other people to say, why are you focusing on women's rights issues in the United States? We have women's rights issues in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the situation is way, way worse. I like, no, it's fine. You can focus on, as long as you don't say, oh no, women there have it fine. As long as you don't say the women rights issues there are not a big deal and people shouldn't focus on that. If you do that, then I'm coming after you. But if you're saying, yeah, that's also bad, and I'm glad somebody's dealing with it, but I'm focusing on this, then you're okay. Subham.
Yeah, and that's why I was speaking for myself. But I agree with everything you said.
I wanted to add that, like, when people say that, yeah, women in the United States and Canada and Europe, they're fine, you should focus on the Middle East and other backward countries, like, I think that's harmful, to be honest, because it makes the activism in your own country stagnant. So while you're focusing on other countries, they might progress, but the progress in your own country will either get very, very slow or get stagnant. And I'm saying this because I've seen this in India, because the majority of people are like, whenever you criticize anything in India, they will be like, but go look at Pakistan, but go look at Iran, but go look at North Korea. And I'm like, yeah, I agree that those are hellos, but it doesn't make India any better. Like, India is still not like really good a place or something. So we need to focus on the issues in this country as well as, and some people might, like, it's on you. Like, if you are not being opposed, you are not opposing any kind of activism, like whether it be your own country or some other country, then it's fine. But if you're opposing it, it becomes a problem.
I
don't know
found
if it's a. Yeah, go on.
just to kind of answer your question in terms of like where this comes from, the article goes into it a little bit further. It just says, according to the Afghan sociologist Ali Kaveh, Afghanistan remains a patriarchal society in which male honor forces women not only to keep their bodies hidden, but also to hide their names. In Afghan society, the best women are those who are not seen and heard. As the saying goes, apparently there's this saying, the sun and the moon haven't seen her, says Mr. Kaveh.
Okay, I do want to mention to Faraz in the live chat that other people in the live chat are also confused by your profile picture. People think that you're Muslim. So I'm highlighting your comments, and it's going to confuse people as well because a lot of people recognize that this is an Islamic icon. So can you please change that? All right. Okay.
I mean, Faraz can be Muslim.
I didn't say he can't, but he's
I know.
not. Okay. But okay.
Okay, I wanted
not a
to,
very relevant point, Susanna. But okay.
I'm not sure if. Okay, I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic there. Like Eddie Capitano on Facebook, he said backward countries, how racist. I don't think so being socially backward, if I call them socially backward, it's racist at all, because I call India socially backward than European countries and North American countries. It's not racist. It's how the society is there. So, I mean, people can still be progressive from there, but the society in large is backward.
By the way, Marcus Sherlock is defending my position in the live chat, which is very rare, to be honest. Okay, let's go to, maybe it's because we defended him so much in that last week, and now he feels bad to.
Armin, you're exposing him. Isn't he on suspension? Should you be highlighting his comment?
Oh shit! Oh, well, never mind. All right. Next news.
I was muted. Okay, in Sudan, thousands protest repeal of Islamic restrictions. The Sudanese government recently passed a number of laws that repealed various Islamic legal restrictions introduced while former President Bashir was in power, including the outlaw of apostasy and restrictions on women's dress. The new legislation also prohibited female genital mutilation and allowed the consumption of alcohol for non-Muslims and for mothers to travel with their children without the permission of the father. Thousands of Sudanese Islamic groups and supporters of ousted President Omar al-Bashir staged a protest in the capital Khartoum against a new set of laws that have scrapped various Islamic laws. Quote, "We are ready for a jihad to defend Islam," a protester said as he chanted, "Nasr al-Din is an enemy of Allah," referring to the Minister of Justice who spearheaded the new laws. So I wanted to highlight this because either last week or the week before, we were talking about how they have ended the death penalty for apostasy there. And while it's awesome that they've ended that law, obviously the attitude towards these things don't change overnight. And it was also brought to my attention by viewers that there are mass protests happening against this progress. So I wanted to talk about that this week.
But it's very interesting that you even have protests in Sudan that were like, yeah, end Islamic restriction. Like, that gives me a lot of hope. I mean, it seems also very interesting that that's one of the first things they're asking for after they manage to get rid of a dictator. Like,
no, this is people who are protesting the repeal of the Islamic rules.
I know, but originally it was the other way around, right? So this might be like people might lose a little bit of hope here. But the fact that we even had the first reaction should give us some hope that there are a lot of people that are like, oh, wait, okay, you guys got rid of a dictator. What do you guys want? And like, yep, and these Islamic laws. Can we get rid of that? Like, the fact that was a major reaction to me gives me hope. But I mean, this reaction to the reaction would be surprising if it wasn't there. I mean, this is an Islamic country. Do you think what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Muslims are just going to be like, sit back and be like, oh, I guess this is okay, fine. I guess we're gonna, you guys are in charge now, and we're just gonna let you take Sharia law away. I mean, obviously not, right? This actually makes me think, like, gives me a lot of makes me wonder about what would happen if Iran is ever successful of getting rid of the government, because I kind of imagine it's going to be kind of like this, but on steroids, where people like that. It's not like if there's a revolution in Iran and the government falls, all the people that were finally we could have a secular democracy, yay. I don't think it's going to go down that easy. I think a lot of Islamic religious Muslims are going to be like, well, I mean, there's still millions of us here, and we're not just going to sit back and let you have a secular democracy. So, but go on, Subham.
No, about when you're saying about Iran, I'm saying like, would it be like that? I mean, I think there would be some people who would oppose it and say they want an Islamic theocracy, but wouldn't like the nationalists be like because of the Persian glory days and even before, like the Islamic Revolution, Iran was pretty okay with everything. So wouldn't they be like, yeah, finally we got rid of this? Because the the glory of Persia, it wasn't anything Islamic. It was like Zoroastrian. I guess it was Zoroastrian that time.
Well, it would be worse than that, I think. Like right now in Sudan, what we have is like some people came out and say like, hey, remove these Islamic laws, and now some people are coming back and saying, no, we're a Muslim country, we want those laws, right? Basically, that's the summary of it, right? But I think what will happen in Iran, it would be like after the government falls, unfortunately, one of the main reactions I think is going to be like, okay, we got rid of the Islamic rulers, gather all the Muslims now, gather all the mullahs, let's shoot them dead in the streets. Let's paint the streets red with their blood. That's what's going to be like, because because of the anti-Islamic. A lot of people in Iran are so sick and tired of Islam that unfortunately, again, YouTube, anybody, Patreon, I'm not endorsing this. I'm just saying this is going to be the reaction, unfortunately. And then also a lot of the former people who are loyal to the government, they're going to be like, well, good luck with that, because we still have access to all the guns and we're coming at you first. We're going to come shoot you in your sleep. And I don't know. I think it's going to be chaos for like a decade or so before. So this Sudan thing, I mean, is anybody like, what's the situation with the government right now? Like, are these protesters? I mean, here's another interesting thing. I support the Muslim protesters who are coming out and protesting and saying, hey, we want Sharia, because they're just protesting, right? You could come out and say protest and be like, hey, this is what we want. That's fine. I hope you don't get it. I hope you fail. But I want to support your right to protest and tell people what you want, right? This is good. Like, I think people expressing what they want in this way is a healthy thing for society. And I really wish Sudan luck with their democracy, because right now in North Africa and the Middle East, in the past couple of decades, there has been a major battle between Islamic monarchies and Islamic democracies. And again, I know that's a contradiction, Islamic democracies, but the Islamic monarchs led by Saudi Arabia, they have been very invested in making sure that every form of Islamic democracy fails. And they also use Iran as an example of Islamic democracy to scare people, like this is what you get if you want an Islamic democracy, right? Because because a lot of Muslims won their voice, and like they feel even after the revolution in Iran, when you had like a fake democracy, a lot of Muslims were being brainwashed to being told like, look, this is what you want. You don't want monarchy. We need Muslims to vote and get we need Muslims to have a revolution and get the monarchs who are puppets of the imperialist West out of this, out of ruling over you, and get Muslims to decide the leaders for themselves. And Saudi Arabia has been paranoid about that model ever since 1979's Islamic Revolution in Iran, right? So that's why they aggressively try to sabotage and destroy any kind of other forms of Islamic tyrants being removed in favor of Islamic democracy or countries with Muslim majority that are also wanting to be democratic. So, like for example, when you had in Egypt, when you had the votes and you had the Morsi come, that was like a major threat to Saudi Arabia's model. And again, so if Sudan is successful in making a democracy work, this is like a major threat to the Saudi Arabian model of government, right? And Saudi Arabia is very interested in seeing these democracies fail to use it as an example of why their own citizens should never demand democracy. But that's just basically all right. Anyways, so next news.
Okay, next news. Oh, so in this next news, we are going to try to not blaspheme against the YouTube gods.
Michael Sherlock is agreeing with me again. I have to read this. This is very strange. Michael Sherlock is saying, I hate to agree with Armin so much, but he's right. Pro-Sharia protests are healthy expression of human rights, which is ironic because if they get what they are asking for, they can say bye to protesting for things. Yes, I agree with Michael Sherlock, and I am as uncomfortable with this as you are, Michael. We got another super. Why are we getting so many super chats from Placebo Believe? This is so kind. He's asking about it's Eid right now, and they're killing a lot of animals, and Placebo wants to use his or her super chat to bring attention to that. He or she's asking why we kill animals and Eid. And a lot of it goes to waste, by the way. Anyways, next news.
Okay, so we have to use some code words for this news because we don't want YouTube to torpedo this video, but we still want to talk about this. So if you need to know what we mean, please look at the screen to see who we are referring to when we use this coded language, as much as I hate to have to do so. Okay, so UK rapper accused of anti-Semitism after likening Jews to the Triple K. I will say.
K. By the way, let's give credit. Subham came up with this as a replacement. So good job, Subham. That's very creative. The Triple Ks. Okay, so you guys know. Here's what we're talking about. Again, we can't say their name because we don't know what YouTube's gonna do to us. But this is fun, guys. Coming up with creative replacement for things that YouTube doesn't like us to say is good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Creativity. Actually, never mind. Forget it. Okay, so Wiley, the popular UK rapper and producer, made a number of anti-Semitic comments on Twitter. This was not this past Friday, as in yesterday, but the Friday before. In a string of recent tweets, he said, quote, "Listen to me, Jewish community. Israel is not your country. I'm sorry. The Star of David, that's our ting. Some people have gotten too comfortable on lands that don't belong to them." He also wrote, "Israel is ours," apparently referring to the Black community. He also advanced an anti-Semitic trope that Jewish people control business interests in an incendiary comparison with the Triple K. There are two sets of people no one has really wanted to challenge: the Jewish, and the triple K. But being in business for 20 years, you start to understand why. Rednecks are the triple K, and Jewish people are the law. Work that out. He added, if you work for a company owned by 2 Jewish men and you challenge the Jewish community in any way, of course you will get fired.
Right. I just want to bring attention to this comment because this actually makes is going to make, okay. Chris is saying, if you criticize the state of Israel, does that make me anti-Semitic? No, it doesn't. But obviously, this is not an example of that. Like, this was obviously an example of some people being anti-Semitic against Jews, and it's very interesting because a lot of times when you actually see people being anti-Semitic, and you call it out, even if Israel is not mentioned, some people are going to say, well, what happened? Like, I want to criticize Israel. This is not anti-Semitic. Like, yeah, criticizing Israel is not anti-Semitic, but this clearly is. And there's some people that get so focused on the words like, oh, anti-Semitic. You guys don't know what anti-Semitic is. Arabs are Semitic people as well. So you guys don't know what you're talking about. Okay, yes, we know what Semitic people mean. God damn it, but everybody knows what you're referring to when you're saying anti-Semitic. Like, really, you think that's an important issue? Like, to be like, well, technically, I mean, this is what you sound like. Oh, shut the fuck up, okay? We know what we're talking about here, right? And that's one other thing. One last thing is that it's interesting that this guy is this guy like a this rapper, like he's like black Israelite kind of person, right? Yes.
He's using a lot of their tropes and a lot of their opinions when he's saying that the Star of David is ours, like Israel belongs to us, meaning black people, which implies that black people are the true Semites. It's really interesting. He went on a huge rant. I don't know what triggered it. I think what triggered it was how anti-Semitism in the black community has been very highlighted in the past month. First, it started out with Ice Cube just really being bald-faced with it. And then there was Nick Cannon and him bringing on Professor Griff onto his podcast and spreading a lot of Nation of Islam and Black Hebrew Israelite misinformation and conspiracy theories, saying that, white people are like blue bloods and we have less compassion and less empathy and we're less human because we have less melanin, and that black people are gods. And then subsequently, Nick Cannon received some disciplinary action from his employer because of that. And then Wiley went on this rant for like 12. Actually, I don't know if he went on the rant for 12 hours, but I know that the tweets, some of them were even worse than this, were on Twitter for over 12 hours. And this rampage. And also there was a trending hashtag recently called hashtag Jewish privilege that was basically an anti-Semitic hashtag to talk about the supposed privilege that Jewish people have to rule over everyone. It prompted a...
you just triggered every goddamn algorithm on YouTube by saying that, by the way. Okay, but go on.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
this is what I came up with the triple K for.
Yeah, see, you just wrote all of Subham's. You say you're Team Subham, but you basically wasted all his efforts. Good job. Go on, continue.
Sorry. No. So, yeah, this prompted a 48-hour boycott that I was a part of with the hashtag no space for Jew hate and 48 hours of silence to try to raise awareness about how anti-Semitism on Twitter really doesn't get much pushback from the platform. And I was happy about that. But it's a big problem.
Okay, so Malik is saying, did you guys also see Seth Rogen's comment about Israel? I'm really upset with Malik because that means that he didn't hit the bell button on our YouTube channel, because if he had, he would see that on our YouTube channel, we are. I'm having a live stream about it. Actually, this is based on my time zone, so you will see exactly based on your time. I wouldn't need to tell you this if you hit the bell button on our YouTube channel, because you will see that I'm going to be talking about this pretty soon. So again, guys, if you don't know when, so hit that bell button. That's basically, I'm using it as an excuse. But another thing I want to mention is that, this whole Black Israelites or Nation of Islam, these groups, they are fringe small groups, but there's a small group of people that actually identify themselves as being part of these groups. But there's a much bigger circle of people who are influenced by their narratives, use their narratives, believe in their narratives, repeat their narratives without actually identifying as being part of these groups, right? Okay, so don't let people tell you that these beliefs are smaller than they actually are by showing you the membership these groups have, because the ideas that they spread is much wider than just the members of these groups. That's one thing. And another thing I want you to be careful of is Black Israelites. What they do say is that they're not being anti-Semitic because they consider themselves to be the Semitic people, and the Jews are the people who are considered by everybody to be Jews. They're actually fake Jews. They are the Black Israelites. They're the real Jews. So yeah, just be aware that that's horseshit. Obviously, they are being anti-Semitic. So don't let that nonsense. Just be ready for that if anybody says that to you, so you're prepared to counter them and be like, no, fuck you. It's as if saying if I bring up an example, I'm gonna get canceled. So because people have no interest in context, if I say there's people who say these hateful things, you're like, oh, Armin, you just said that hateful thing. I'm like, okay, go fuck yourself. Anyways, let's go. Subham, Susanna, do you want to add anything before? No.
And it's kind of a silly thing to say, that Israel is ours, is in the Black community, because there are Black Jews. Jews are not just Ashkenazi European. Well, I shouldn't say we all know this, because a lot of people don't know that, but it bears repeating, even though it's annoying to always repeat that. Are we ready for the next news?
Yes.
Okay. So, next news. Effeminate man sexually abused and harassed by cops in India. In Kolkata, an effeminate youth was allegedly termed as a thief and was sexually abused and harassed by cops in Kolkata. The youth said that he was tortured by cops outside of a shopping mall. The youth alleged that he was taken to the police station last week where he was sexually abused. Around 9 p.m. on July 20th, the youth was on his way back to his friend's home where a group of men intercepted him. The men were police officials who were in civil clothes. When the youth resisted, one of the men allegedly flew into a fit of rage and slapped him. Another man held the youth's hair and started dragging him towards his bike. The men allegedly started abusing the 23-year-old man. When the people heard the man's voice, crying out, they rushed to the spot, and one of the accused, who was attacking him, claimed that the man was a thief.
Okay, Subham.
So yeah, this is something not very uncommon in India, and most cases don't even get reported or get any attention, even if they're reported. So yeah, this is horrible, and people complain about police violence in the US. I say police violence in the US is almost nothing compared to what happens in India. Cops are known to sexually assault and even rape people. For example, just last month it happened. There's this curfew going on because of the COVID and everything, because of the lockdowns, and this father and son duo, they closed their shops 15 minutes after the curfew, and the police raped them to death. So just they inserted, it's not rape, it's sexual assault. They inserted a stake in their buttholes, and that's how they killed both the father and the son. It got
What the
attention
fuck?
for a while, and then no one talks about it anymore. Like you see people coming out for George Floyd so much, and it's still going on, kind of in a way. And for this father and son duo in India, like people did speak up against police brutality, but it died in 2 days, and no one
Wait,
really talks about it anymore.
wait, who did this? Okay, so the stick thing, that was this case or a similar case?
It was the case I'm talking about, the father and son duo. It was like breaking curfew in another state
Right. When was this?
last month.
Last month. And this was done by the police?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. Did the police put stick up people's butt
as a
and kill?
and that's how they killed them.
And they killed them? This Jesus fucking Christ! What the hell? This sounds like a fucking what the hell, man? Okay, how did we not hear? Okay, all right.
I mean, people didn't hear it even in India. It's not. I mean, obviously, it didn't get international attention because it didn't even get national. I mean, some people spoke up against it, but this there was no like protest or anything, and it just died in like a couple of days. Like people just forgot about it.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
this is that's because this is that normalized. People know about police brutality, and it's so normalized that people just don't care for much longer. And this is another case. Like when I dress up in female clothes and everything, I never go outside alone. I'm scared to death of being alone when I'm dressed like that, because I don't know. I mean, even in the train, I was like, no, please, I need to have a friend, at least one friend with me, even if it is this woman, because this man, he was like harassed. He was like, this is horrible. Like the cops came, like they were in civil clothes. Some of them showed their IDs, but they didn't tell him what he did wrong. And later, like many people went and asked the cops, and they refused to comment on it. But later they said they were like busting some sex traffickers and prostitutes in the locality, so they asked him for that reason. But like, no, you can clearly identify. Usually, you can clearly identify between prostitutes and just usual regular people. I mean, I'm not demeaning prostitution or anything. It's just that's kind of illegal in India. So, I mean, you can clearly differentiate between them. But these people just came, harassed him. They put him in the police van, and in the police van, they touched his genitals. They checked to see if he has breasts. They called him slurs, and after taking him to the police station, they snatched away his phone, checked the phone for photos if he has photos or anything, and his and also the horrible thing is like they put him in jail, and his sister got him bailed out because his parents are not supportive. His parents doesn't don't even know this happened. So
Okay,
that's
Subham,
why, yeah,
somebody might say you're doing whataboutism. What would you say
about
when you compare to George? When you say George Floyd and stuff, like people like
I mean, no, what I'm comparing is the protest that happens. Like American people care when police brutality happens. That's why we are seeing these protests. And even the few Indian people who care, the speaking up and everything, that just dies in just a few days. That's what I'm saying. So I don't see how this is whataboutism. Because it is completely true. You don't see people protesting against police brutality, because I mean, yes, in India, police the cops don't use guns, because like gun violence is not that common in India, but they can beat you to death with just sticks. And because like for this guy, what I was saying is his parents don't support him. So if his parents come to know that the police arrested him, they will think that they arrested him because for being gay, and his life in his house will be like hell. Like it's not as bad as my parents, because apparently he can dress up freely whenever he wants and get out and everything. Like my parents are even more strict than his, but yeah, his life will be hell. So at least he has a supportive sister. That's good for him, who
okay.
bailed him out. But this is very common. This is very, very common in India.
All right, let's read Michael's comment on this and then move on to the next story. Michael Sherlock is saying this show shines a light on so many underreported atrocities. This case in India is a great example. Keep up the great work. I also have to mention that these cases will continue going underreported even on Atheist Republic if it wasn't for Subham. So Subham is not just giving us his comments about these things. He's also the one responsible for us. He suggests these news items and finds them and asks us to post it on Atheist Republic. So thank you, Subham, for making sure that we see these stories.
I mean, the problem when I first shared this news, and I asked Susanna to have this on the stream. The problem was it was just on Medium, which is like a blog channel. Anyone can just upload any article over there. It was not on any reliable news source. So I had to wait for a couple of days more to have just 2 news sources covering this. So think just 2 of the many sources in the whole country covered this. So obviously it's so underrated.
So even in India, it's not getting that much coverage. Yeah.
Yep. And no one cares about it. Like, it's so horrible, and that's why people, like, for example, I can personally say this, I'm scared to death.
Okay. Faraz is saying, Subham, thank you, but for some reason he still has his shady Islamic profile pic. So thank you.
You can't change it midstream; it won't refresh.
Right.
But yes, this is welcome Team Subham.
Yes. Michael Sherlock just switched teams to Team Subham. So
love
fuck you, Michael. God damn it. All right. Let's go to the next news.
Okay, next news. A wife of detained Nigerian humanist pleads for proof of life. # free Mubarak Bala. The wife of prominent Nigerian humanist accused of blasphemy has pleaded for information about his well-being on the eve of the 3-month anniversary of his detention. Mubarak Bala, the president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, was arrested at his home in Kaduna State on the 28th of April, 2020, and was taken to the neighboring state of Kano. In the weeks before, he had posted comments critical of Islam on Facebook that caused outrage in the deeply religious and conservative part of the country. Quote, "I don't know whether he's alive or dead, in prison or not," his wife Amina Mubarak said. "At this point, I'm not even begging for his release. I just want proof of his life," end quote.
Any suspicion on any guesses on what's happening and why nobody's hearing from him?
He's being held incommunicado. They have refused to let him see a lawyer under basically any circumstances, and they're just doing it blatantly at this point. It's really troubling. Oh wow, another super chat from Placebo Believe. I enjoy it. Have a good day. See you next time. Oh, are you leaving? Well, thank you.
I enjoy it. I'm gonna use this. That's so cute. I enjoy it. I enjoy you having you in the live chat too, Placebo. Okay. Thank you and thank you.
If this case wasn't already sad enough on so many different levels, she had a baby 6 weeks before he was basically disappeared by the government. So he has a newborn that can't see him. He has other children as well. His family needs him. The United Nations has gotten involved at this point, and they're saying that there is a serious lack of due process. They put out a statement that reads, "The arrest and detention of Mr. Bala amounts to persecution of non-believers in Nigeria. We are also gravely concerned about his safety while in detention in light of death threats against him, and further fear that he may be subjected to torture or punishment due to his atheistic beliefs."
Yeah, if Mubarak was like, if he was like Jewish or Christian, this would get a lot more attention right now if it was because of his Christian beliefs or Jewish beliefs or Islamic beliefs, right? My God. one day we'll get to a place where people actually care about atheists being. By the way, Marco Sherlock in the live chat is saying, I have been in regular contact with Leo
Igwe.
on this case, not as a representative of AAI. What's ED? Not as ED.
Executive director.
Okay.
So he's saying not in his capacity as an executive director.
Just personally. Wow. See, Michael Sherlock is continuing to do good work even when he's suspended. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. This is why he's so valuable. Michael is one of the most valuable people when it comes to actually in this movement right now, when it comes to making sure that these cases don't go unnoticed. He's like a true asset to our movement. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's saying the news is not good so far. It's really tough because Mubarak is the son of a widely regarded Islamic scholar.
Wait, sorry, did I miss that part?
You did miss that part.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, that's. Let me clarify. He said that the news is not good so far. Okay, what does? Okay, go on. Sorry, Susanna, go on. What does that mean?
Well, there's a lot that Michael can't disclose. So Mubarak Bala is the son of a widely regarded Islamic scholar. So he's also an ex-Muslim. He was committed to a psychiatric hospital in 2014 when it was revealed that he was an atheist and an apostate. And it took 18 days of campaigning for them to remove him from that psychiatric hospital. And part of what complicates this is that different parts of Nigeria are ruled differently. So they had him in a southern state that is less Muslim, and then they transported him to Kano, which is a northern state that does implement Sharia law to a degree. So he could face Sharia penalty for his apostasy if they ever decide to give him due process. Not that Sharia court is due process, but if they even let him see a court. And it's a pretty dire situation to basically be disappeared by your government for over 3 months at this point.
Okay, and let's go.
Oh wait, can you highlight another comment by Michael? The one below the comment by Suha. Yeah. Oh, so he's giving us more information. He says AAI has released a video statement from Mubarak Bala's wife. So if you go to the atheistalliance.org/campaigns/Mrs. Amina Mubarak tells her story, you can hear her talk about this herself. And I encourage people to help campaign for the release, or maybe just the proof of life of Mubarak Bala at this point.
At least, yeah, okay. All right, next news.
Okay, next news.
Wait, I have to do the PewDiePie thing. Next news. Go on.
I'm leaving. Okay, so next news. Death sentences of 5 protesters upheld in Iran. # stop executions in Iran. How do you say that in Farsi?
Wait, what?
Do not execute.
Edam nakonid.
Okay, there we go. The Iranian Supreme Court has upheld the death sentences of 5 protesters arrested during the December 2017 and January 2018 uprising, with some sources saying they received 2 death sentences, one for, quote, waging war against God, and the other for taking up arms against the government. They are, oh my goodness, apologies for these names, but I want to say these names. Mehdi Salehi Gale Shakrohi, Mohammed Bashtami, Majid Nazari Kondori, Hadi Kiani, and Abbas Mohammadi. The regime routinely sentences prisoners to heavy prison terms, lashes, and even death in an attempt to prevent further protests. Iran has the second largest number of executions in the world, with over 123 executions taking place in just 2020 alone. Yeah, so we're not even through. We barely, it's only August 1st, right? Like, at least where I am. And there's already 123 executions just this year. So
Right.
I wanted to talk about this because last week we talked about how the online campaign hashtag stop executions in Iran, or the equivalent of the equivalent of that
Why are you
hashtag.
laughing? That's very insensitive, Susanna.
I'm laughing because Michael said a funny comment that Armin highlighted. Okay. And now you made me lose my train of thought. So I'm talking about this again because we talked about how this online campaign helped halt the execution of 3 protesters recently. They were imprisoned because of the protests last November. And how we were talking about the importance of these online campaigns and how they do help, but you need to contribute and to keep an eye on this, because we need to continue these campaigns, right? We need to keep the pressure. And Armin literally said, he's like, wait for the next campaign. Well, here it is. So Armin, do you think you could give people a little bit more background on if you remember, the December 2017 and January 18 protests?
Well, I mean, that's going to be so. We actually have a very good video on this. I mean, I made a good video interviewing somebody on this, a 2-hour conversation, but I don't know how much they were just like, I don't think we should get into all of that. People know there were protests. People know that the people came into the street asking for democracy, asking for their rights. And this is just thousands of people were arrested. Thousands of people were killed in the street by the police and by the military from directly. It's not like the shootings, for example, in the United States, where you have like, how many unarmed shootings we had in the United States? Like, I'm not doing whataboutism. I just want to give you a sense of some comparison, right?
In what year? 2019?
Yeah.
I'll Google that.
Unarmed, not just shooting of cops shooting and killing unarmed people. It's definitely less than 100. How much is it, Susanna? Oh, okay. But just to give you some context, during these protests, which happened in less than a month, Iranian government shot and killed more than 1,500 unarmed protesters. And this is not like the police making an oopsie here and there, or like, oh my God, we were defending ourselves, we made a mistake, we thought that person was holding a gun. Nothing like that. This was directly ordered from the top to point the gun at the people with the intention of killing them because they're protesting. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. And 1,500 is actually, some people say that's an understanding. It's more, but 1,500 people got killed, but thousands of more people were arrested, and the Iranian government was waiting for the news to die down before they pass on these death sentences, and now we're going through that, right? So we had the first 3 happening, and then we had like a campaign, Edam Nakone campaign, which means do not execute. That went viral, got international attention, and those 3, because of that international campaign, those 3, their execution either got suspended or delayed. Like, what's the update on that, Susanna? Like, that was what, like,
they basically get a retrial.
Right? So that doesn't mean they're not going to be executed, but it shows that these campaigns, it shows that these hashtags does have an influence on their they are trying to avoid all this attention. So given that the Iranian government doesn't like all of this attention, maybe that shows you what you need to do, right? So you could share this video, for example. Susanna, you have that number? So
I'm having a hard time. I mean, just in the past 2 minutes finding the total of.
Yeah, just give us some estimates.
I know for 2019 there were 8 unarmed black men in 2019.
I think it was 9 unarmed black people and 19 unarmed white people per person. So
that's
like, it's
approximately right.
Right. So it's just less than 100. Let's just total less than 100, right? But I'm not saying that's excusable, by the way. I'm not doing a whataboutism. I'm just saying, just to give you some context, okay? So that was a lot of people might get confused because with this news they might get some deja vu. Like they're like, didn't we just discuss this? No, that was 2 weeks ago with 3 people, and now now this is another 5 people, and the government is actually like lying a lot about like these people were originally arrested for the protest, and now that it's getting attention, just like the last 3, at first they were just got arrested for the protest. They call it war against God, right? So it shows you what they think of themselves if you when you protest against them, and they call that war against God, right? This is a Quranic thing, by the way. There's spreading, when you say they were accused of spreading corruption on earth or waging war against God, these are specific terms that are verses from the Quran direct that you know where they come from, right? But this is a new 5, and there's going to be more of this coming up. But just like the last 3 that also were accused, like were arrested just for the protesting, and then when they got attention, then they were like, actually, the government was like, well, actually, they burned some shit. Actually, they had weapons. They're like, that's not what you originally said. And then they tortured them just so that they could get them to say, yeah, oh yeah, we burned some shit, right? They tortured them, right? And I suspect that these people that are also now getting arrested for waging war against God, maybe if unfortunately once this gets a bit more attention, there might be some more, they keep adding some other stuff, made up stuff to their cases, but we'll see if that happens. I do also want to address a comment here. Okay, so some good comments, but then also some really shitty comment that is lower. I'm going to read that as well. So this one is saying, it's incredible to think that almost 250 years ago, the founders of this great country had the foresight to enact a legal principle of separation of church and state. I think this comment is referring to the United States. Iran is a prime example of what happens when you don't have that. That is very true. Sydney saying this is why religion shouldn't run a country. Also very true. So far, good comments. This is a funny, weird comment. Jeremy is saying, simple, send in Black Ops team and take out those judges and their families. Holy crap. And their families. Once the teams are safely away, let it be known and they died as a result of them murdering the protesters, and Allah was powerless to stop it. Okay.
That's so messed
I don't know
up.
if this is a serious comment, but this person lives in fantasy land, and also, anyways, I think this person is just having fun. I'm not sure. But this is the comment that triggered me. It wasn't this. Nita is saying, coming to the USA soon, too, if Trump has his way. Shut the fuck up, Nita. Shut the fuck up. No, this is not going to happen ever in the United States. No matter who the fuck is the president, you're not going to get people being executed for protesting. No. Okay? No, it's not going to happen. Not everything has to be about the United States. Shut the fuck up. It's not going to be as bad. You're not the number one victim. You don't need to compete with other countries about how bad your situation is. Okay, that's it. I was just triggered, and I just needed to share it with you guys so I could, it's like therapy. Anyways, that's it.
That was rightfully triggered.
Right.
Yeah. I believe we shared this opinion, the 3 of us. I don't support the death penalty or execution under any circumstances. Literally any circumstance. So when I was posting about this, I commented, like, before people even go there asking me about whataboutism, I'm against the death penalty under any circumstances, under any country, including my own country. So I'm tired of people trying to point out, oh, look at what the US is doing. You have executions too. Yeah, and I'm against that. And even so, it's not nearly the rate of Iran and China. The rate in which they are killing their own citizens is horrifying. Subham, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so no, I agree with you. I don't support the death penalty in any cases, even though I've seen so many people, like there are many people who say death penalty should be reserved for the most extreme cases, but I say no. I mean, I agree, I share the same disgust for those extreme cases with them, but I don't agree that they should be put to death for those.
Oh, okay.
Anything else to add?
No.
Okay,
Let's
next
go.
news. Last news. Is social justice destroying atheist groups? Is the question on the table put forth today. So, and if you click the link, you can find the statement I'm referencing. On July 21st, Atheists for Liberty released a statement in support of the executive director of Atheist Alliance International, which we will refer to as AAI, Michael Sherlock, after he was temporarily suspended from his role at AAI for a tweet describing religion as a retarded relic, and then referring to a woman who criticized him for the use of the word as a cunt. This statement is titled "Social Justice is Destroying Atheist Groups, a response to attacks on Atheist Alliance International and Michael Sherlock," and reads in part, quote, "Sadly, toxic social justice activism continues through call-out culture and cancel culture, further dividing and diminishing the atheist community. This is far away from the core values of defending separation of religion and government, normalizing atheism, and refuting religious claims." And the statement continues, "Atheists for Liberty stands against destructive social justice entryism and the overblown response to an atheist activist calling religion a retarded relic. Atheists for Liberty instead prioritize the free exchange of ideas, individual liberties, religious freedom, including non-belief, Enlightenment values, and secular government." End quote.
Okay, what are your thoughts on this?
I thought it was interesting. There was a lot more to this statement. There's a lot in this statement. Some of it goes into how they, according to the statement, critics shifted from attacking Sherlock to attacking AI itself relentlessly and under the pretense of trying to undermine their work as put forth in this statement. And it also goes into the background of what they believe is some of the origin of this so-called social justice entryism. Personally, if I wrote this, I just would have kept a singular focus. It's really complicated. Can
I say something?
Yeah.
I would change. Hold on. First of all, I agree. Mars is right. So it's not social justice is not destroying atheist groups. Social justice is destroying everything it touches. But also, again, social justice. We are actually for social justice, but we know what we mean right now by social justice, right? Social justice. Yeah, clarify, because I mean I'm for social justice. We're talking about people who pretend to be for social justice. We're talking about the woke people, right? Go on.
There is a distinction between social justice, a la Martin Luther King, a la Civil Rights Act, that strives for individualism, just as one example. And then there is a big difference between that, which I consider true social justice, and what I call, well, it's not just me, critical social justice. So this is social justice through the lens of critical theory, through the lens of applied postmodernism, and incorporates critical race theory, critical gender theory, and I can't even get into explaining critical theory, but
please don't. Let's get off track.
It seeks to problematize everything and look at situation in terms of the problems that arise, and often does not propose very many solutions, where I think classical, if you want to call it that way, social justice actually does put forth very good solutions. Yes.
Okay, but I was gonna say something. You didn't let me. Michael Schilling is saying I think it's important to distinguish between social justice activism versus social justice warriorism or wokeism. So that's how he differentiates it. I think that's fair. What I also want to mention is that before Susanna rudely interrupted me, is what I would have done. What I would have done is the only thing I would change is social justice is destroying some atheist groups. I wouldn't just say atheist groups, right? I mean, it's not destroying Atheist Republic. It's not destroying Atheists for Liberty. And I'm hoping AAI would recover from this, and come back stronger, without letting social justice warriors destroying it. And I think the reason why I think I would have changed this to some atheist group, because I think a lot of people read this and be like, yeah, fuck atheist groups. They're all a bunch of social justice wokey groups. I'm done with it. Like, no, I mean, we have more. There are many of us. If you don't like one of, if you're into woke nonsense, we have some options for you. If you hate Wokistani Mujahideens, like Rivka mentions, we have other options for you, right? We have multiple options. You don't need to completely wash your hands off of it. And if you see all of them and you're like, oh, this all of them suck, then you could start your own atheist community. You're like, hey, look, I looked at all of you guys and all of you are shit. And then therefore, what does that mean? That means there is a gap in this market for you to provide something that is not being provided for people like you, right? This is what Atheists for Liberty did. Atheists for Liberty looked and like, hey, there's something missing here for like conservative atheists, for example. Like Atheist Republic is not for conservative atheists. We have different focus, but Atheists for Liberty, like, hey, let's make a home for conservative atheists, and they did it great. So you just become the solution of the problem. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying just remove. Don't say it's destroying atheist groups. Just say it's destroying some atheist groups, right? But go on.
First of all, Atheist for Liberty is not for conservative atheists. It's just for atheists who aren't the atheism plus type people.
That's us.
Yes. No, that's also us.
Okay. Do not show. Why? That means they're competing with us. Why are you even showing the story, Susanna? We shouldn't be highlighting them. They're coming after our market. God damn it! Nothing to see here, people. Nothing to see here,
there
people.
There can be many communities. I support a diversity of atheist communities. But to quote their website, they are for atheists, agnostics, freethinkers, non-religious and skeptics, independents, conservatives, libertarians, traditional liberals, and centrists. So they're not singularly for like one, like Republican atheists or something. It's not singularly for a political party. I just forgot what I was going to say. Subham, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I will just say, I think I said it before in the live chat. I mean, it's not exactly related to. I mean, I haven't like really studied the depths of how these organizations work and everything, so I cannot really say much about that. But I will just say it like, when it comes to words, like I still think that what Michael did and what the others who came after him did, it could all have been solved with just simple conversation instead of just making this so
but where
huge.
is the fun in that, Shobham? People live for drama. We need some drama in our life. How could okay?
I mean, drama is fine, but shooting down AAI actually puts people's lives at risk.
Yes. Oh wow, great job, Susanna. Susanna is here just to make me feel like shit. Okay, fine.
That's true.
Can I read this comment?
Yes.
Don't forget what you're gonna say, Susanna. I'm gonna. You're a woman. You should wait until men finish speaking before you interrupt. Okay. The mad gay atheist is saying yes. A lot of atheist creators are woke folk. It makes me not want to follow them or watch their videos. Okay, again, I mean, you're right, the mad atheist, but again, is this surprising? A lot of people come like, "Oh, I said atheists were supposed to be better than this and be smart and educated and not be falling for that one dogma, choosing one dogma over another." Why would you think that? Like, I don't understand. People say sometimes I want to be like a bit rude, and when people say I said atheists were supposed to be smart, I'm tempted to say, well, you thinking that proves that they're not, right? Because because I mean, atheists, being an atheist just means you got the answer to one question. One question. You got the answer to that one right. Like, do you really think that makes you that would suggest that you got every other things right? Like, people are like, the both sides say this. Like, left-leaning atheists are say this, like, oh my god, I can't believe there's so many right-wing atheists. What the hell? Like, I thought we were supposed to be better than this. And then you get the other side, people saying, oh my god, look at all these wokey people. I thought atheists were supposed to be better than this. No. Okay, we have our fair share of racists. We have our fair share of transphobes. We have our fair share of people that are just generally assholes. We have intelligent people. We have stupid people. We have incredibly stupid people. We have all of them. We have our fair share of all of these people. Okay, and here's the thing: highlighting that is a good thing, because we have an atheist movement here, not to go out and try to claim that we are better than everybody else. We're just trying to claim we're like you. Don't If you want to go after a racist atheist, go after them because they're racist, but not because they're an atheist. We are asking for equal treatment. We're asking for atheists not to be demonized. We're not asking you to act, we're not going to, at least we are not, I know some people are. We don't want to pretend that we are holier than thou and better than you just because we're right about one thing. But we are going to rub it in your face that we are right about that one thing, just to be clear. I'm not saying don't do that, right? The fact that you believe in flying, prophets that go onto heaven on flying horses, and prophets that curse trees because it didn't have fruits and shit like that, that doesn't mean we're not going to hold back. We're going to make fun of you to the end of time on those things, just to be clear. But anyways, Susanna, or Shipla.
I wanted to highlight a comment by Enderpaul at the 38-minute mark recently. Can you find that?
Wait, what time? What was it? Where is it?
Well, for me, it's 7:38, but it's not.
10:38 from who?
Enderpaul?
Wait, Enderpaul?
I'll read it.
Interpol?
Enderpaul is saying anti-SJWs are pathetic. Woke isn't even nearly as big a problem as they've been made out to be. Move on from 2014, Armin. Watch Cult of Dusty. I don't know what Cult of Dusty is. I'll clarify for myself. Personally, I am not anti-SJW because I think...
I am.
Interesting. Because I think a lot of people who fall under the anti-SJW umbrella, this is generalizing, tend to deny the reality of a lot of bigotry that does exist. And if they were exposed to like the levels of how crazy it gets on all these forums by actual neo bad people from World War II, you'd be like, holy cow, like I don't deny that there is legitimate bigotry in this world. And I sometimes feel like anti-SJWs can fall into that realm.
Okay, no. See, this is being anti-SJW is a good thing. But what we have to acknowledge is some people there's a good thing that is happening, and then some people jump on it and go overboard with it. People are like, hey, you can't just think all white people are racist. You can't just think that racism exists even though we're in places where it doesn't exist. You can't just call out misogyny just because you know what I'm talking about, right? There's these dogmatic beliefs that people have that they want to shouldn't be questioned. They have this collectivist views and believe in ideas that go completely in opposition to the race blind attitudes that civil rights movements had, and all that stuff. And it is a big problem. Anybody that says that it's not a big problem, they're full of shit and they have no idea what they're talking about. I do admit that they're a fringe group of people, but they're a fringe group of people that have a shit ton of influence. And we have, if you want to see examples of how this dogmatic cult is becoming more and more mainstream and has a lot of influence, just follow Atheist Republic's YouTube channel. We cover examples of that. And again, I think it's because this whole woke dogmas, their tactics and their narratives is very similar to religion. It is within our domain to talk about them and try to attack them. So, and if you think if they're not a big deal, then you've been living under a rock. But again, I think when some people use the banner of anti-SJW and go out and actually attack people who are genuinely fighting racism, transphobia, homophobia, and stuff like that, we need to call it out. We need to, like, people like say, like, you see somebody that is actually genuinely being racist, and then somebody calls it out like, oh my, hey, there's some racism going out here. And some people are like, oh, everything is racist these days, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you fucking idiot. This is actually racist. This is genuine example of racism right now happening here. If this is genuine example of transphobia or homophobia, just because some people overuse that label, that doesn't mean there's no real racism is not happening, right? So I think I still consider myself an anti-SJW, but I also acknowledge that the anti-SJW movement has grown into something. It's basically what's happened to it is exactly what happened to the civil rights movement, right? So this whole woke nonsense is basically people jumping on the civil rights movement and going overboard with it and trying to turn it into a divisive movement rather than a movement that brings people together. Create an in-group, an out-group, and demonize the out-group and just make the out-group bigger than it actually is, because you become more relevant the bigger the out-group is. So what happened to civil rights movement, what this mutation, this like Frankenstein monster that was created out of like trying to get some pieces out of the civil rights movement and just making this look like this is a continuation of that, but it's not. This is exactly a smaller version of that is happening with the anti-SJW movement. The anti-SJW movement was making some genuine points, and now some people are jumping on that, and they're actually trying to use that to genuinely be racist, to genuinely being homophobic, to genuinely being transphobic, while doing all of that, but by pretending, well, I'm just being anti-SJW, right? So that's what but we need to call that out. And Daniel here saying this. So Daniel is basically pointing at on Facebook saying, I've been accused of being woke SJW more times than I care to remember when I do stuff like supporting people's right, for example, to have different sexualities. Stupid cunts. Yeah, I agree with Daniel on this, and that's a cunt thing to do. Yeah, go on, Susanna.
Side note, I think it's so funny how, I mean, maybe people outside of America don't know, but like a lot of, well, speaking just in my personal observances, a lot of white women act like hearing the word cunt is like hearing the N-word directed towards them, which is hilarious to me because I love the word. I think it's funny, which is why I like laugh every time I say it. But the Mad Gaytheist was saying, yes, Susanna, there aren't very many woke folks, but they're literally destroying people's lives. They dox people, get people fired, get them kicked out of school. Yeah. Trust me, you don't have to tell me that. You're talking to someone who used to be eyeballs deep in this
Susanna,
stuff,
for people who don't know,
like,
Susanna is and she's not just ex-Catholic, she's also ex-Antifa. Right. So she knows how big of a problem this is. Right.
Yeah, and I know how big of a problem it is, and I draw attention to it because I have the insight of what it's like to like truly think that you are being morally righteous when you're acting this way, and to treat people poorly because of it. I can be intellectually honest enough to say that. Like, I would be the type of person to just disassociate from someone without telling them why, because they said something that I thought was problematic, or they associated with something or someone that I thought was problematic, right? That's not right. And that's not thinking critically, and that's not engaging with the content of people's arguments over who they are, where they come from, or who they associate with, right? That's not what I stand for anymore. And that's why I like to talk about this stuff.
Right. And okay, so just to be clear, it's actually this whole woke cult is not these. I mean, people say, Armin, this is a soft. What year did the person mention? How many years ago? So 2000 what?
What are you talking about?
The comment that you were reading, the person that was criticizing me, saying that this
they're
is
saying it's not 2014, Armin.
Okay, so actually the problem is that it's a lot worse than 2014 now, because the examples that you guys are actually giving right now, that's so 2014, where like you had people being doxxed, people being, there was cancellation campaigns, trying to remove you from platforms and shit like that. That is so to 2014. What we have right now is those fringe group of people are now, their ideology is more and more leaking into these platforms, community standards, corporate America policies, the education systems, what's acceptable language, what you teach the kids, into museums, into government policies. So all of those narratives that you guys were worried about in 2014, we have a ton of examples for how it's now becoming slowly more and more mainstream and influencing people's lives who used to be able to manage to stay out of being affected by this whole woke dogma. Now is coming into a corporation near you very shortly, unless there's something done about it, right? So this is like a lot worse than 2014. And again, if you want to see examples of that, just follow Atheist Republic, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell notification. By the way, we do live stream more often on Twitch these days as well. So follow us on Twitch. Sometimes we live stream on Twitch things that doesn't make it to our Facebook or YouTube. So follow us. Link in the description. All right. Oh wait, Thomas Sheedy is here. Thomas Sheedy from Atheist for Liberty. See, they're so irrelevant. They're so irrelevant that I even forgot their name. See, but I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love you, Thomas. Thomas Sheedy is saying a lot of people think that talking about this stuff is so 2014, 2015, because that's when we started chatting about the issue. Just because we've spoken a lot about the matter doesn't mean it isn't an issue. I think he means.
I was wondering if I should say what I said before we began the stream about the word thing here. So
please
I
do.
was just,
please do.
Yeah. So when people this woke. Okay. So first of all, people call me woke, SJW, everything. Even when I mention the most like I mentioned, I posted a news about harassment of women employees in a game company, and the gamers were like woke, woke, woke. I'm like, dude, this is a problem. But yeah, so I'm also being used to being called woke. But what I was thinking, when these people are like, oh, you are not allowed to say this word because there have been so much discrimination with the use of this word and everything. So I was like, here in India, people use the word gay as an insult, and that this is not just a fringe number of people. That's the majority. If you're if you're trans, if you're gay, if you're bi, whatever, they will call you gay as an insult, and it affects people. I've seen people being affected by that. Even straight people who are just a bit and not very masculine, they're called gay. And I have seen so many people getting depressed with this kind of bullying in schools and colleges. So are we just supposed to not use the term gay anymore? But that doesn't happen. The LGBTQ community here, they still proudly call themselves gay and everything. They don't want to give up the term to these people for discrimination. So I don't think I believe in reclaiming terms and not just giving away these terms to people who will use them to discriminate others. So that's why I don't see a huge problem with using certain terms.
I just want to mention that we have all the best atheist organizations here at the same time. Look, we have like the three best ones in my opinion. Um, Michael Sherlock from AAI and Thomas Shitty and Justin Bakula from Atheist for Liberty. Like this is basically the trinity of the atheist group should be. Like yeah, and we should do more stories like this if it brings all the great organizations like this together. Like look, we're all here, and also the Babylon Project is also here. So yeah, like this is great. Actually, let me read some comments here. Michael Sherlock is saying one of the biggest problems with the woke is woke, in my opinion, is why do you people put in my opinion in there? Say, Michael, what the hell? Like, thank you for clarifying that this is your opinion, because I thought you were just like talking about someone else's opinion. If you didn't clarify, thank you, Michael. Okay, so in my opinion, is that they are imploding the left, and the left does champion important social issues. Woke has become a synonym for stupid. Wait, am I allowed to say stupid? No, sorry, cancel, Michael. Hold on. There's another good comment here. Thomas saying, "Oh yeah, Michael is not allowed to say stupid. If he does, we'll all attack him in the blogs, like the professional, amazing free thinkers that we are." Another Michael here is saying woke gets over. Wait a minute? How did Thomas saw Michael's comment? Michael is commenting on Facebook, and Thomas is referring to it on YouTube. Is Thomas have like both live chats open? That's amazing.
I think he's referring to the other Michael. But anyways.
Oh, there's okay. Michael is saying woke gets
highlighted it on the screen.
Oh, maybe you're right. Okay. Michael is saying woke gets overused sometimes, but it does describe a real phenomenon, a real political segment with a distinct set of beliefs. Yes, every time, guys, any movement that is successful is going to get overused. Like you would be surprising if it's not. If it's going to get misused, overused, people are like, oh, now we should get rid of it because it's overused. No, you just call out the people that are using your movement incorrectly, and like these idiots are not with us. That's how you do it. You don't just give up, like you just sort of throw out everything out. Like we're not giving up on the civil rights movement just because we have the Wokistani people, right? We're not going to be like, oh, look, they ruined civil rights movement, so fuck civil rights movement. No, so we don't give up on that. And just because, yeah. Anyways, I already made that.
It's pretty funny the tweet that they posted when they posted this statement, the reaction on Twitter. Oh man, I want to find this one comment. When we first were talking about the original incident of Michael being suspended, I posted a article critical of him, and I also posted an article in support of him, just to see the difference of reactions. And again, it's funny to see the reaction of us just posting this. We just posted it because we link our post when we cover the news, right? And to see people also get triggered by us just posting it, it's very interesting for me to watch. But I don't know if you can find it, Armin, but someone said, this comment really made me laugh. Andy No, Dave Rubin, Thomas Sheedy, Melissa Chen, Faisal Mutar, Sam Harris, Yasmin, Armin, etc. have ruined the ex-Muslim atheist movement by being right-wing grifters. Half of those people who listed aren't ex-Muslim atheists.
Honestly, I would be more offended if it wasn't included in that list.
Exactly. At least they got your name in their mouth, right?
Yes. Here's the thing. Okay, wait. Was there a warning in this message that I missed? Like, what is a warning about?
So he's or that part of the tweet is referencing how when AAI gave Michael a disciplinary action, it was their quote-unquote final warning about language being used. Part of the disciplinary action included basically having to be, I could pull it up if you give me a second.
No, it's fine. I thought it was referring to
disciplinary watch for about like 2 years.
Okay.
And also, yeah, final warning.
Okay. Because I think people I misunderstood what they were referring to. Oops. Okay. Let me find the tweet that I was mentioned. Man, I want to see that.
And
Guys, if you ever see people coming after Atheist Republic or me or Susanna or Subham, let me know. Like, send it to us so we could review it here. Go on, Subham.
Okay, so there's this guy on Facebook comments, like Yoshi, they think that we cannot read their comment because it's in Bengali, but they don't know that I am a Bengali native speaker. So I just want to reply to them. Jana bara nijer kaaj kor, because he's using slurs. Like, he's literally saying, fucker brothers, you don't have any work, go and do your work. And then he's using slurs. So
Yes, I am looking. Okay, so here's the
I
thing.
just told him, get the fuck off, dickhead.
thank you.
Good job. Here's the thing. Sometimes, you think, like, you look at these people like, hey, let's see, maybe they have a point. Maybe, let's listen, be open-minded. Obviously, I can't be right about everything, but then sometimes, like, I am right about everything, am I not? No, but I listen to them. I try to be like, okay, let me see what they have to say. Maybe they're pointing out something that is fair. And then, they call me like right wing, okay? I mean, Thomas Sheedy is probably right wing. He's a Republican, but I know I'm not right wing. And they're so sure that you're right wing. I'm like, well, I don't really need to be that skeptical about you guys anymore, because you are so certain that I'm right wing, and I know more about myself. Obviously, if I'm sure about anything, is the things about myself. So the fact that you think I'm right wing, it helps me realize how ridiculous you guys are. Like, anyways, like,
Oh my God, that reminds me.
I'm basically saying thank you to Wokistani people for making it so easy to realize how ridiculous they are. Like, it's not really hard. Okay, but go.
It was really funny. That reminds me, a friend of mine in Finland told me that people were talking shit about me in some atheist group in Finland, and I'm so dumb. I'm like, people know who I am in Finland? Like, forgetting that I do this show internationally every week. But it was so funny, like, saying that we undermined liberalism, that we are right-wing grifters, blah, blah, blah. I'm waiting for that check, because I'm not right wing. Even if I was, you should look at the quality of our arguments, or my arguments, not my political affiliation. Oh, we got a super chat.
Yes, finally you saw it. Talking about grifting, Robert Roberts gave us $5 Canadian saying, Armin and Susanna need some right-wing grifter money. Too bad it's only Canadian pesos. Okay, this is transphobic, because why didn't you mention Subham? Huh, Robert? Huh? What?
I mean, Armin,
Subham
you don't pay me. I mean, I would like to get my paycheck, but you don't pay me.
because because you're trans, and I'm transphobic. No. Obviously.
Oh my God.
So
this devolved quickly.
By the way, it's so amazing that our show, when Rivka is here, like, we didn't aim for diversity. We only aim for diversity of opinion, right? Like, ex-Christian, ex-Hindu, ex-Muslim, ex-Jew. Like, that was what the diversity that we were looking for. But we managed to, without even trying, to get the diversity that the woke people want. Like, we got Susanna, who's bi, so we got LGBT covered. We got Subham, who's almost everything under the rainbow category. I don't know. Right? So he's transgender, fluid. I don't know what else.
Pansexual. Fuck
pansexual. Yeah. Like, which ones are you? All of them. Okay, so that's Subham covers, and he's brown, I think. Yeah, he's Indian. He has that accent that makes it just genuinely like,
I am
look at all the
Bangladeshi Indian.
what?
I'm Bangladeshi Indian, so two countries. Bangladeshi Indian.
Wow, like,
and Dalit.
Yes.
Dalit.
So, and we have Rivka, who's Jewish, and I'm like a Middle Eastern ex-Muslim. Like, we pretty much have hit every single diversity quota. Having like the cis trans one we hit, male, female, we are like half male, half female. White, we only. I mean, these days it's a problem that we have even one white person, so that's an issue. We shouldn't have any white people on the panel. So, but that's okay. We have enough brown people to cover that. We have hit everything, like sexual orientation, gender identity. We're not even like, even when people have like trans, to just make sure that everybody is not cis, we could say like, well, you have trans people, but everybody here is gender binary. What about gender fluid people? But we even Subham, we even covered that. Like, it's amazing. We didn't even try. We hit every single diversity quota that there is. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh. I wish
we're the-
Rivka was here. I feel like she'd have like really awesome things to say. Funnily enough, I actually did become a member of Atheists for Liberty last week. And no one with a disability, Mad Atheist. I have crazy depression. That is a disability.
I
also
have
have-
crazy
that covered
dysphoria
too.
and depression. So
Yes, we
Yes.
covered that.
Yes, mentally ill as fuck represented. Yeah, so what I was going to say was I became a member of Atheists for Liberty, and with every paycheck, I am going to become a member of pretty much every atheist organization I can find, because I dare anyone to tell me who I can and cannot associate with.
Okay, Michael Sherlock is saying Subham single-handedly fails Atheist Republic's diversity quota. That's good.
Team Subham!
Okay, good. All right, guys, this is fun. It's fun hanging out with you guys. Yeah, we missed Rivka today. She is, but maybe next week, hopefully. All right, guys, I'm gonna end this here. Thank you for having Thomas, Justin, Michael, Mars, Vince from the Babylon Project. Guys, check out the Babylon Project. Also, I guess I have to say this. I don't want to say this, but I have to say it. Also, check out Atheist for Liberty. I guess if you have to, check them out.
Check out Subham's channel. Subham's channel is the Queer Indian Atheist.
Yes, check that out.
And also, thank you to the people who gave us super chats today, like Placebo Believe. Where's Robert?
Oh, check out AAI as well.
Lots of people. The Mad Atheist, Daniel Jones, Faraz, Suha. Thank you, Suha. Suha always reminds us to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bells, so you can see Armin taking apart the crazy rights and the crazy left and right, live.
Right. And religious stuff too.
Justin just gave us a super chat as well.
Oh, great. Okay. Everybody go check out Atheists for Liberty. I'm not even saying, okay, yeah. Now that we're getting paid, we got our right wing. We got our right wing grifting going on. This is exactly what
it's official.
Yeah, it's official. Thank you, Justin, for making it official. Okay. All right, guys. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.